Okay, so good day everyone. Okay, so for today we're going to discuss about thesis component, no? In a master's degree program, specifically in MBA, no, typically follows a structured format, no, with components that ensure clarity, depth, and scholarly rigor, no. Most commonly, we cover the title page, no, which include the thesis title, name, the university, department, degree program, date of submission, and the advisor's name. We have, of course, the abstract, no, acknowledgement, table of contents, list of tables and figures, and the chapter 1 to 5. No, but in presentation, we must only focus on uh, MRAD, no? Introduction, methodology, and discussion. And to give us more details about the topic, let us all welcome our presenter this morning. Go ahead.
everyone. Good morning, everyone. Today I will be discussing Chapter 7, Thesis Components. So, what are the learning outcomes? After this lesson, you will be able to understand the structural elements of the preliminaries in a thesis, develop the skills uh, to write a clear and concise abstract that effectively summarizes the research objectives, methodology, key findings, and conclusion of a thesis, and learn to create an organized and comprehensive table of contents that accurately reflects the structure and content of the thesis. Gain proficiency in compiling the back matters of a thesis, and understand the appropriate format and citation styles for the bibliography. You will be able also to develop an in-depth uh, understanding of the ethical principles and guidelines governing research. Learn to identify and address potential ethical issues in the design, implementation, and reporting of the research. When embarking on a thesis, research, or capstone project, you will be understanding the key components and their significance is crucial for producing a high quality document. There are parts of the thesis wherein there are various components for each. First is the preliminaries of a thesis that serves as the introductory framework, setting the tone and providing essential information about the research. Back matters of a thesis, which encompasses the concluding elements of the document, such as bibliography, appendices, and any supplementary materials. And last is the ethical context of the research. It is the fundamental aspect that underpins the entire research process. Adhering to ethical principles ensures the integrity of the research and the protection of participants' rights and welfare. First, we can differentiate capstone versus thesis. Capstone projects are multi-layered project that serves as culminating academic experience for students, typically at the end of the academic program, while thesis is a long research paper that typically serves as the final project for a university degree. Capstone might not be as scholarly as a thesis, while thesis is more scholarly in nature. Capstone can be done by high school students, college students, and etc., while thesis usually required for honors degree, master's, or doctorate degrees. Final product for capstone can take many forms like paper, multimedia presentation, or short, while thesis is always a final product. The final product of a thesis is always a paper. Preliminaries of thesis refers to the initial section of a thesis document that precedes the main body of the research, and the foundational elements that introduce the research, provide essential context, and facilitate navigation through the document. It also contains various components that typically constitute the preliminaries of thesis, which is elaborated in 18 to 25 paragraphs usually. So here are the preliminary components. The first is the title page. It is the first page of the thesis, and it is composed of title of the thesis, author's name, the institutional affiliation, degree for which the thesis is submitted, and date of submission. Next is declaration or certification page. The author affirms that the thesis is their original work and has not been submitted for any other degree, and it contains signature from the author and supervisors for authenticity certification. Next is abstract. It is a concise summary of the thesis, usually of 150 to 300 words, and it is a brief overview of the objectives, methodology, key findings, and conclusions. Next, acknowledgements. It allows the author to express gratitude to those who contributed to the completion of the thesis. Table of contents. It is an organized listing of the chapters, section, and subsections in the thesis along with their corresponding page numbers. It serves as a clear roadmap of the thesis structure, and it facilitates easy navigation for specific sections. Next is list of figures. Uh, if the thesis includes various figures such as graphs and charts, a list of figures is provided to help readers locate visual aids. Next is list of tables. It includes all tables presented in the thesis, along with the titles and page numbers. This list aids in locating data tables that are critical for understanding the research findings and analysis. Next is list of abbreviation. It is a comprehensive reference for all abbreviated terms used in a thesis, ensuring that readers can understand these terms without confusion. Often, research involves the use of numerous abbreviation and acronyms, so this is an essential part of the research. I mean the thesis. Next is the preface, where author provides a personal account of the research journey and motivation behind the study and any significant experiences encountered. Next is dedication. This is an optional component where the author dedicates the thesis to individuals who have had significant impact on their academic journey. Next is a foreword. It is typically written by someone other than the author, such as the supervisor on or an expert in the field, that and provides an endorsement for work. The foreword can highlight the importance of the research and its contribution to the field. There are other considerations in presenting the preliminaries of a thesis. First is the statement of the problem, which outlines the research problem and question that the thesis addresses. The others are research objectives, which helps the readers understand the primary focus and intention of the research from the outset. Next is significance of the study, which justifies the relevance of the study and its contribution to the academic field or practical application. Scope, the limitation and limitations. This section defines the boundaries of the study and acknowledges any constraints that may affect the interpretation of the findings. Next is research methodology overview. It is the brief summary prepares readers for the detailed methodology section that will follow in the main body of the thesis. Next is ethical consideration. This section can address issues such as informed consent, confidentiality, and ethical treatment of the participants. Next is hypothesis or research questions. This section ensures the readers are aware of the specific questions and the research aims to answer or the hypothesis it seeks to test. Next is citation and referencing style. An explanation of the citation and referencing style used in the thesis can be included to guide readers on how sources are cited and referenced through the document. Next is formatting and typographical conventions. This section can include information on font styles, heading levels, and any specific formatting choices. Next is research timeline that includes key milestones and overall time frame for completing the research. And funding sponsorship acknowledgement that recognizes the contribution of funding bodies and sponsors. Last is accessibility statement. This section can address any measures taken to make the document accessible, such as alternative formats and accessible web versions. We go now to the back matter components, which is the essential component for providing supporting information, references, and additional materials that validate and enrich the research. First is the bibliography, which is the list of all the sources cited in the thesis, and proper citation ensures academic integrity, gives credit to the original authors, and allow readers to verify. Next is appendices, which contains supplementary material that supports the main text, and it contains signature from the author and supervisors for authenticity certification. Next is the glossary, which is the list of specialized terms and their definition used within the thesis, and ensures that all readers can understand the terms used in the thesis. Next is the index, which is the alphabetical list of topics covered in the thesis along with the page numbers. This tool is particularly useful in lengthy documents, allowing readers to quickly locate information on specific subjects. Next is the author's publication, which highlights the author's contributions to the field and provides additional resources for interested readers. Next is curriculum vitae, or what we call CV, which provides a brief professional biography highlighting the author's academic background, research experience, publications, and other achievements. Next is acknowledgements. As you can see, as I have discussed before, for preliminaries of the thesis components, acknowledgements is also there, but this acknowledgement for back matter components is extended that allows the author to provide more detailed thanks and recognition to individuals and institutions that supported the research. Funding and sponsorship details. It provides the details about the funding sources, grants, and sponsorships that made the research possible. Ethical approval. This section confirms that the research was conducted following ethical standards and guidelines if the research involved human and animal subjects. Next is data management plan. It outlines how the research data were handled, and it ensures that the data are accessible and can be reused by other researchers and promoting data transparency. Supplemental materials. It includes multimedia files, software code, or other digital resources that provide further context or support for the research findings. And next is technical appendices, which may include detailed technical information such as algorithms, code snippets, detailed experimental setups. Next is raw data, which allows readers to see the unprocessed information that underpins the research findings. Next is methodological details. It might involve elaborate descriptions of features, protocols, or analytical techniques in the study. Next is supplementary analysis. It provides deeper insights and support the robustness of research findings. And instrumentation details. This is the crucial for replicating experiments and understanding the technical aspect of the study. Next is the consent forms. This is to demonstrate compliance with ethical standards, and it ensures that participants were fully informed and consented to their involvement in the study. Next is survey instruments that allow readers to see the exact tools used to gather data and evaluate their design and content. Next is software and tools. If a specific software or tools were developed or used in the research, detailed descriptions or user manuals can be included. Next is the statistical tables, which provides the raw numbers and statistical calculation that underpin the research results. Next is extended literature review, which provides a more comprehensive overview of the existing research and contextual background. Last, for the back matter components, is the disclaimers and legal notices that might involve intellectual property statements, disclaimers about the use of data, or other legal considerations. We go now to the ethical context of research, which is the paramount of ensuring integrity, credibility, and respect for all participants involved in the research process. First is the informed consent. It involves clearly explaining the research purpose, procedures, risk, and benefits of potential participants, ensuring they understand and voluntarily agree to participate. Next is for confidentiality and anonymity. Researchers must ensure that personal information is kept confidential and that participants' identities are not disclosed without their explicit consent. Next is avoiding harm. Researchers are ethically obliged to avoid causing physical, psychological, or emotional harm to participants. Next is ethical approval and review boards. Most institutions require researchers to obtain ethical approval from a review board before commencing study. It helps safeguard the rights and welfare of the participants. Next is voluntary participation. Participation in research should always be voluntary, free from coercion or influence. Next is transparency and honesty. Researchers must present their data and results truthfully, acknowledging any limitations and biases. Next is respect for intellectual property. Researchers must respect the intellectual property rights of others by appropriately citing sources and obtaining permission to use proprietary materials. Ethical data management. It includes secure data storage, accurate recording, and responsible sharing of data. Next is fairness and equity. Researchers should strive to avoid biases and ensure that all participant groups are treated with respect and given equal opportunities. Avoiding conflicts of interest. Researchers must be vigilant in identifying and managing conflicts of interest that could bias their work or compromise ethical standards. Next is social responsibility. Research should be conducted with a sense of social responsibility, aiming to contribute positively to society, and ethical use of technology, ensuring data security, protecting participant privacy, and addressing the potential misuse of technical tools. Next component is impact of ethical research on society. Ethical research has a positive impact on society by generating trustworthy knowledge, promoting public confidence in science, and contributing to the well-being of individuals and communities. Next is role of ethics in research design. Ethical considerations be integrated into research design phase, influencing the choice of methods, participant recruitment strategies, and data collection procedures. Next is future direction in research ethics. Researchers must stay informed about emerging ethical issues, such as those related to new technologies, global research collaborations, and changing societal norms. The last part of the report is the ethical considerations in collaborative research. First, we have the cultural sensitivity. Researchers must be aware of and address cultural differences, ensuring that their methods and practices are appropriate and respectful to all participant groups. Next is ethical publication practices. It involves ethical considerations such as giving proper credit to all contributors, avoiding redundant or duplicate publication, and ensuring the accuracy and integrity of the published work. Next is responsibilities of supervisors and mentors. Supervisors and mentors play a crucial role in guiding ethical research practices. They are responsible for ensuring that students and junior researchers are aware of and adhere to ethical standards. Next is addressing ethical dilemmas. Researchers may encounter ethical dilemmas that require careful consideration and judgment. Addressing these dilemmas involve balancing competing interests, seeking advice from ethics committees or colleagues, and prioritizing the welfare of participants. Next, we have to consider is the case studies of ethical breaches. These case studies highlight the consequences of unethical behavior and underscore the importance of adhering to ethical standards to avoid harm and public and maintain public interest. And last is the balancing ethical and scientific goals. This involves designing studies that are scientifically rigorous while ensuring the ethical standards are upheld, and it enhances the credibility and impact of of scientific findings. Ethical training and education. Institutions should provide regular training sessions, workshops, and resources to ensure that researchers are equipped to conduct ethical research. So the ongoing ethical training and education of the researchers, they should be stay informed about ethical standards and practices and be updated. Thank you so much. The reference for this report is the Advanced Research Methods by Dr. Abante, Dr. Briones, and Dr. Vigonte. Thank you so much. Hi, Doc Abante. I'm done with chapter
Okay,
7 na po.
okay, thank you so much. So again, a master's in business administration follows a structured format to ensure a clarity, rigor, and contribution to business knowledge. So, as I mentioned earlier, no, it begins with the title page. Wait for a while. Oh yeah, no. Sige lang. Wait for a while. Labas lang ako. Medyo may kumakain kasi kami na. Okay, so again, in thesis, no, it begins with the title page, which contains essential details such as the research title, the authors, no, the institution, the degree program, and the advisor. And this is followed by the abstract, a brief of 150 talaga yun, sabi nga ni Madam, to 250 words, outlining the research problem, objectives, methodology, and uh, key findings and conclusions. So the acknowledgement section, uh, through optional allows the author to express gratitude to mentors, peers, and institutions that contributed to the research process. No? The introduction or chapter 1 set the foundation for the study, it provides the background of the study, highlighting the context and importance of the research. And the state of the problem defines the research gap, while research objectives and research questions clarify the study's purpose. Now, this is the significance of the study explain the research benefits businesses, policymakers, and scholars. Additionally, the scope, the limitations define the study boundaries, ensuring clarity on the aspect are covered. No, a critical component is the review of related literature in chapter 2. Pero minsan, yung ibang university nasa chapter 1 na rin yung RRL, which examine previous relevant research relevant to the topic. No? In this section, explore existing theories like models and empirical studies, providing a theoretical and conceptual framework for the study. Through analyzing prior works, the literature review identifies research gaps, justifying the study necessity and guiding its direction. The methodology, the chapter 3 details how the research is conducted. It means to say it includes actually the research design, whether quali or quantitative or mixed method. It is also described the sampling method in population, the data collection method, such as surveys ba, interviews ba, case studies ba, and are outlined along with the data analysis techniques used to interpret results. And sabi nga ni Madam kanina, ethical considerations such as informed consent and confidentiality are also addressed in this chapter. The chapter first the result in discussion, no? Present and analyze the study's findings. Data is often displayed using tables, charts, and graphs for clarity. But most commonly, ang ginagamit talaga is table, no? And with description. And this section interpret the findings in relation to the research questions and previous literature. So the discussion explore patterns, no, trends, and unexpected results, offering insights into their implications for businesses and management practices. So the chapter 5 is the conclusion and recommendation. It summarizes the study's key findings and draw conclusion based on the research objective. So this chapter also provides practical recommendation for business, policymaker, and future researchers. Additionally, it discuss the implications, no, of the study, particularly how its findings can contribute to the business strategy, decision making, and further research. So the references section lists all sources cited in the study, no, following a prescribed citation format, or mas commonly kasi APA, no, or IEEE, and so on. So, or MA, no. So, finally, the tests, no, include supplementary materials, no. So, therefore, a specific order in logical structure that includes essential components such as introduction, literature review, methodology, results, and conclusion. Each section plays a critical role in ensuring the research is well-founded, no? Methodologically sound, lagi sinasabi ng panel yan, and contributes meaningfully to business knowledge and practice. So through adhering to this structure, you as student can provide a thesis that demonstrates your analytical skills, research, and problem-solving skills, preparing you to leadership roles in the business world. Okay, so I think that's it for this topic. Thank you so much to the presenter.